welcome back to the Plunder Den. In this week's episode, we're going to take a look at my preparations for AdeptiCon. So I kind of mentioned in the last episode that I had quite a few things to take care of, and unfortunately I wasn't able to go last year, and I kind of worked on a few things, assuming I was going to go last year. But world events turned around, not in my favor, and it doesn't matter. We're going this year. Unfortunately, it wasn't able to go last year, but we're definitely going this year. And as I'm recording this, I think I'm 9 days away from going. I'm heading out about a day before AdeptiCon actually starts. I just want to be all settled in. But kind of wanted to make some armies. So I'm going to be playing in the Blood&Valor and Blood&Plunder tournaments. And I wanted to make sure I have some forces built for it. Now, I was kind of, doing a mad dash because I was trying to get Raise the Black miniatures done. Because I wanted to feature Firelock Games' new product that, they're probably going to be featuring at Adepticon. And I wanted to have all those new units ready to go, and so I could play the tournament with the newer miniatures. Of course, there's old miniatures mixed in there. Just some of the sailor types and stuff like that. There's a lot of play there. There's lots that you can pick from. So definitely in that sense. But I brought. I'm going to bring the Maroons as a new faction, which is very interesting to me. I made some smaller forces, so I'm bringing 2 tournament forces and 2 smaller forces just to do some demo games. And I kind of mentioned that maybe, going the second floor at the Renaissance there and potentially running just a small demo game up there or something like that. So I'm going to bring some terrain, of course, and bring some battle mat and, just some assorted ships. And that's kind of what we're going to be talking about in this episode. I kind of just wanted to show you some of the things I've been working on. So maybe we should start off by just going down to the table, and we're going to take a look at all the miniatures that I put together. I just mentioned all these miniatures that I've been working on, these Raise the Black miniatures. And maybe I'll talk a little bit more about each individual faction and different characters I'm bringing. And let's take a look at that first. So I figured I'd start with the Blood&Valor units here. I decided to bring the French force with me, and kind of went heavier on weapons and characters. This is I think a major. As I have a few more abilities in this force, but I definitely want to have a little less guys to bring, just maybe more weapons for them, just to save space. I mean, really, I have to consider that with all these armies that I'm bringing. So I just figured I'd pick up a few of them. I've been working on this French force for quite some time, to be honest. I was working on it before last year's Adepticon, and I wasn't even close. I was about half done. So I'm happy to see that I finally have gotten it all completed, and I have a playable force here to compete in Adepticon at the Blood&Valor tournament. All right, so let's go over to the other side here. Just kind of showing off some of those new deck of cards. Definitely going to bring that for running with all my non-British factions, per se. Everything else will be the British factions I'm using. But here's some of the character cards. I'm going to bring some pirates. Now I just built 6 pirates myself, but you can use some of the other sailors for pirates, right? We got Blackbeard here. And those are just a couple examples. This is one of the pirate guys I painted up and built up. Not too bad. Now, I'm filming this actually with my gimbal that I'm going to be bringing along, and it's a little bit smoother. Still have a lot to learn about using it, but I think I'll get the hang of it. So there's a close-up of Blackbeard. Really actually happy how this miniature turned out. It's one of my favorite minis. It painted up really nicely. Had really nice big details on it, a little easier to paint. Then I got Samuel Black here. I'm going to bring him as well. Just an alternative pirate captain. Some Jamaican privateers that I've done up here. Let's take a look at these guys here. As you can see, I'm having a little bit of issues with the gimbal. Actually, I think I ran my hand in some terrain right there. Oh, well. We'll get better at it. Another really good, actually, all of those legendary commanders are really easy to build, and they're really great details, easy to paint too. I really liked the way they are. And then we got a Jamaican privateer. I could probably use these guys as British frontiers. I was talking about maybe using them as provincials. You know, there's lots of different variations you can use these kind of the militia box for out of the new race of black. So then we gotta have Black Caesar if we're gonna bring Blackbeard. I have him as an option. I could run him as a commander, or maybe a bark or something like that, or have him in the bigger sloop of war I'm going to bring along with Blackbeard and bring a larger pirate force. So I have some different options bringing him. So he's one of the characters that I'm bringing. Just another pirate. And then we got our roundsman. I built quite a few roundsmen, and you could use, like, I have my able seamen and the roundsmen. They're interchangeable. So if I want to go heavy on the British or heavy on the pirates, I have options there. I have both that I've brought along. So I'm just showing you one of the guys. Actually, is one of my favorite ones that it turned out. Really liked those roundsmen, came out good. I just pointed some of the terrain. Definitely bringing that train that I built on this channel, the portable train. I'm going to bring that Spanish mission. I was trying to fit things in my little carry-on bags, and it'll actually fit in there nicely. We got a spiritual leader here. I know I have a character card there. Probably won't use that spiritual leader. Just use the generic one that's in the instruction manual. Gives you that extra fortune point. We got some British regulars. That's one of the most recent things I've just posted on my page. They came out nice. I wanted to make sure I get those the white bands and stuff on them. I just wanted them to, it's such a recognizable uniform. I wanted to make sure that I painted those details on it. So I just went a little bit, a few extra steps on those guys. And then this is your British commander. If you've been following along, I've been posting lots of pictures of him. He's going to be useful for all sorts of things. I'm going to bring the pirate version cards for him, so I can have a generic pirate commander as well if I want to go that route. And I think he actually represents Ken Jennings, I think, as well as a pirate faction. Same character. There's a plain old Sea Dogs. So this is my older miniatures. Good bringing 10 Sea Dogs. You could either use these in the pirate faction, and they work well in the, of course, the British faction. They're one of the primary forces that you can use. So I definitely wanted to bring a lot of Sea Dogs. Now I'm bringing some European sailors, which you could substitute as Sea Dogs. And those pirate characters could be used as Sea Dogs as well. So again, interchangeable. I got some Grenadiers. Again, something else I've posted on my channel. I'm going to bring them as well. Now I've built a couple of different factions where I could use both regulars and Grenadiers. But definitely the main primary force, I'm probably only going to be able to pick one of them. They are pretty pricey, and they're a support unit, so you need quite a few of the primaries to even field them. So then we got Maynard. Going to bring him along. Again, just want to get a little closer up view of him. Yeah, the gimbal's got a weird function. If you get really close, it like kind of jerks, but then it like really zooms in really well. As long as you're, as you can see, I put it back. It's actually not a bad, besides the jarring effect of it. You can really zoom into things really cool. So there are some able seamen on there going on. So those are some other options for the British faction. And then these are the Maroons. So we got some African warriors, which you can also use in the pirate force. And I also got a new unit of Coromanti warriors, I think they're called. And it's something new just made for the Maroon faction. These are some of the newer ones that I built from the native box and the militia box I combined. And then I got some Lanceros that I built from the new Race to Black sprues, from the sailor boxes and the militia box, and kind of put together and made some new Lanceros. And then we got Queen Nanny, who's the head of the Maroons. Now, I just kind of made a realization, that's not Ken Jennings. He's a guy from Jeopardy! I meant Henry Jennings. Oh, man. Well. As you can see, I'm bringing quite a different assortment of miniatures, and they're interchangeable, right? You could use some of the sailors, the roundsmen as able seamen. They can go back and forth. I'm kind of using some of the Maroons characters for potentially Jamaican privateers. So we just got kind of an assortment. Pirates can take African warriors, so it's a good mix of miniatures that they can be interplayed, interchanged with each other. It's funny, I was making a list of factions just before I started filming this, and I think I got a pile this thick of different potential scenarios that I could do with a longboat or a bark in a longboat or a Piragua in a longboat or whatever. There's a whole bunch of them that I was trying out, and I probably went a little crazy on the list building, but anyways, that's here and there. It's all done. I'm probably going to bring some of that with me. Just printing off some quick reference sheets for the tournament rules, stuff like that. But besides that, what also I'm going to be doing in this episode, and really what I'm going to spend some time on, is I wanted to update my Piragua. So I built this particular Piragua probably about 2 years ago, I would say. And let's just say it wasn't AdeptiCon ready, I don't think. It was okay, but I think I wanted to upgrade it. There's definitely things that I've learned along the way over the last 2 years that I could, really make that ship a lot better. And also my original Piragua wasn't really transportable. I actually glued the masts in, which I ended up pulling apart. And I show you that in the video here. I kind of take it apart. And I kind of use jewelry magnets to make the masts magnetic. Really just so I could take them apart and transport it. So same with the other two ships. The other ships I'm bringing are the bark and the sloop of war, which I've actually built on this channel. And, at the time I was building them, I was originally going to take them to the original AdeptiCon that I was going to go to last year. And they made them all portable, right? So, so I already had finished those for the last Adepticon, but this time I wanted to add a few other things. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go down the table. I'm just going to show you how I kind of altered and changed my Piragua just to give it a little more flavor, let's just say, to make it a little more interesting. And then we'll just kind of do one more run through of everything I got on the table that I'm bringing along. And that's pretty much it. I just wanted to give you guys kind of an update, what I'm doing here, preparations for Adepticon. All right, if you like what we're doing here in the Plunder Den, make sure you smash that like button and consider subscribing to the Plunder Den and get first-hand information when I start these kind of, episodes. All right, everyone, let's get down to the table and let's check out that Piragua. Okay, so I started off by realizing that I really wanted to magnetize those masts. So I got some jewelry magnets, and I got a bunch of assorted types of balsa wood. And I use balsa wood because it's easier to shape and cut. And I really kind of want to put wooden planks on the top instead of the dugout look of the Piragua. And of course, you can see I didn't even do anything with the bottom. I don't know why I didn't paint the bottom. And I want to touch up the mast a little bit. Make them look a little nicer, the sails. Give it a more weathered look too. So at this point I was kind of deciding which way I was going to go first. Definitely want to touch up those sails, as I mentioned, and use these jewelry magnets. I got those at Michael's in the clearance section. Yeah, you got to get those clearance section jewelry. And then, of course, I texturized my wood planks to give it a wood look, these balsa woods. And I think I'm going to go with a wide then small pattern across. This is kind of similar to commission work I did on a large, big canoa. I kind of wanted to do the same kind of thing in the middle of this Piragua, mainly because I was potentially using this for like pirates or European factions, and I wanted to give it more of a ship look, not so much of a dugout look. But I don't want to alter the ship too much. So of course I want to stay within the rules of the tournament, and you can decorate it, but you don't want to be too crazy, right? So I'm just kind of showing you that I'm going to use the hot glue gun, mainly because it sticks down flat real quick. You could use white glue, but it wouldn't stick as well. Super glue would work, but then you have to wait 24 hours. So I just went with hot glue. it'll hold it in place. And then also I wanted to do these other, like a skeleton frame that's kind of in the inside. It's almost similar to a longboat, actually. The posts that go up the side. And I just want to add those details in there. It'll make it a little more interesting when I paint it as well. So I'm kind of thinking about that while I'm doing it as well. And then I kind of want to trim up the top. I wanted to have more of more like a ship feel than the dugout look. So I'm going to cover those with wooden planks. And it gives me a good opportunity to have like split wood and damaged wood, and just kind of gives it really good details. And I actually use that little turning rudders device there. It's actually, I think, the first boat where I actually stuck it in there. I got like piles of those from the ship accessories that I've gotten, but I figured, you know what, I'm going to use it in here just to add a little extra detail in there. So that's those magnets. Essentially what I did is I used my clippers, clipped the bottom off where that connects to the jewelry, and then sanded it down so it's nice and flat. And I'm going to glue them with that super glue. Now I'm going to use a Gorilla Glue and put them inside the holes there. I kind of had to dig them out a little bit, make them a little bit wider, just so they stick in there better. And that's what I'm kind of pointing at. And you can see that I've done all the other details. They're all completed. And we're ready to glue these magnets in. So the super glue works really good. It glues to metal and the resin that Firelock Games uses for their ships. So it sticks on there really well. And then, of course, the other end of the magnet will be glued to the bottom of the mast. Pretty simple, straightforward to have a more portable mast on this ship. I have to get rid of the ugly trimming on the bottom. I don't know why I never cleaned this up. I actually made it just look like grass or moss or something growing on the bottom of the boat. So I really regret that. So I shaved it all off, and I'm going to paint that bottom up and make it match the rest of the ship. I also sanded it so it's not so smooth, so the paint sits on it nicer on that resin bottom. And I just showing you how I finished putting those magnets in. Now, to get them on the top of this is kind of tricky, actually. I used a piece of tape on it, so I glued it on just to hold it in place. I just put a little bit of packing tape on there just to hold it straight on there so it dries nice and straight on the end of those masts. It actually worked out good. It came out good. So now I'm going to hit with the black craft paint as I always do, my undertone. I'm going to hit all the areas, the bottom of the ship, and pretty well the entire top, and get that all painted up. Similar to this. I was okay if I spilt over some of the details. I was going to paint over some of that stuff anyways. Kind of just wanted the center to be somewhat the same. All right, here's the masts. They're all dry, and just sticking them on with the magnets. I'm really happy how this turned out. Real simple solution to having my masts be more portable. Right, then I'm going to move on to my undertones. Real brown, bark brown, Pablo, and my camel. These colors that I always use on my ships. Same ones I did on my bark. If you watch that bark painting tutorial, it's pretty much the same idea. And you can see it's got the dry brush technique that I always use. And I got a nice little look to it. I went a little heavier on the camel on the bottom. But again, I'm going to add more colors to that as well. So now I'm going to move into some miniature paints. We got Scully Hide, Necrotic Flesh, Commando Green, Army Green. These are all, different colors. I want to make this framing a green color. So I'm going to do some dark greens and then lighter green highlights. And then we got Sand Golem, Dark Wood, Graveyard Gray, and Grim Black. Those are all Army Painter speed paints that I'm going to be using there. And then some gunmetal for some of the metal details. Some mummy robe to lighten up the center again. It's a little bit of skeleton bone. I actually kind of mixed those two colors together to lighten it up a little bit. Just showing you kind of where I'm at. That's where I'm going to paint right in the center there, even though it's pretty well colored already. And then some real brown, the yellow ochre kind of mixture that I use. I'm just going to lighten up that deck. I could have left it worn the way it is. But I decided to go with a little more of the yellow look. Now, it looks really bright right now. I think I have it on vibrant setting on my camera, but Actually, when I'm standing right in front of it, it's not that bright. But I also add some washes over to it and dull it up a little bit. But you can see I've added the greens on there. I started touching up the sails, just trying to clean up some of the details. Now, I actually made those designs in the sails, just kind of freehanded them really quickly. That was like last year. And, I wanted to go back and clean them up a little bit. You can see I just kind of added some more yellow to the trim around it. I got rid of kind of that pattern that I had on there. Kind of just went with a solid orange instead. So then we got Agrax Earth Shader, Skeleton Horde, and then the Commando Green, just kind of my grunge that I'm going to put on there. So this is after I've done everything. You can see it's a little darker, that it's not as bright yellow. There's still a bit on there, but if you're in person, it won't be as bright. Of course, this is after I just painted it too. So you let it sit for a while. It does dull and get a little bit, it gets the color that you want it to be. So you can see I've added a lot of weathering to the sails, and I added that little peak on there only because I want to add a flag, like a pirate flag, to the top of this. All right, let's get down to the table and take a look at the completed fleet that I'm going to bring to AdeptiCon. So we got our Piragua here, Great 4, the Pirate Force, or maybe the Maroons. Longboat for any potential amphibious assaults. We got our Sloop of War, my primary ship, and a bark. So that's pretty much it for this episode. I definitely hope to see everybody at Adepticon and meet as many players as I can. Make sure you stop by and say hi. I'll either be up on that second floor or I'll be in the historical portion of it, playing some games for Blood&Plunder and Blood&Valor. There's a picture of everything that I got to bring with me. Oh, boy. All right, thanks so much, everybody, for watching, and I will see you in the next episode, which will hopefully be AdeptiCon.